So what's up, guys? King Drew here with my co-host.
Life first in the building. You already know what it is.
So we want to welcome you guys to the Question Everything series, where we talk about current events and personal development.
The world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage. Born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
So we're having a multi-dimensional war, right? So we're having a multi-dimensional war, right? So as it pertains to the Twitter question that was posted and how the responses came, as far as the individual that you might come across in that experience based upon how this is depicted, right? You got to say to yourself this: we're having a multi-dimensional war. You know what exactly? In the embodiment of this, of how those characteristics is perceived, is something that I embody all of it, right? Every last one of those characteristics is something that I embody. And a person might say, well, how so? Well, I will first start by saying this. When it comes to this utopian's intent, specific to how it correlates to these characteristics, think about it. We all have these characteristics in us that, as far as how it comes to reinforcing such ideology, right? So on the surface, right, you might come across and you might see the tendency of having someone who might be quote unquote either 1 through 4 in regards to what that might be a representation of. But sure enough, when you're in your place, you might be perceived as 1 through 4, depending upon what that may be, right? So in that regard, right? So personally, I feel to an extent we all either willingly do it, or unconsciously, based upon a perception within the perception, we're doing something, more so understanding the deception in terms of the why, but not even seeing it for the perception of what it's doing in that sense, right? So as it pertains to this, me personally, as far as I see these as characteristics, so I'm going to digress there and I'm going to move to this point, right? So this is why we heavily emphasize on what? Meditation, becoming grounded with yourself, becoming one with self. Why is that important? Again, we're having a multi-dimensional war. So meaning what exactly? So you got to then say to yourself, in order to be able to combat this uncertain level, right? You have to say to yourself that I now have to put out there variations, meaning my subconscious, right? So meaning I have to have a meeting with myself and say, listen, subconscious, I'm gonna need you to line up with the consciousness, meaning what? So when we're going through this multidimensional war and we're coming into face with these entities, right? Now in real time, I need triggers, right? So now I know, okay, so now what I do now is I throw in an assassin and I gotta go through whatever that may be, right? And then that assassin comes back and reports to me, right? So this is why it's important when we talk about how are you assessing your day, right? So now we're connecting it for you, right? So these are the things that we all have with inside of us. Now you have to say to yourself, who is these entities reporting to? So when we talk about these voices inside of our beings in that regards, it has to come back to one singular place, meaning how are you controlling those emotions? So, you don't go over the deep end, right? And we'll get a little bit more into that. But as it pertains to this particular question, again, shout out to you, Twitter. Shout out for all the responses. Shout out for what you guys do on here. Y'all know what you guys are the champs. Now, not to take away from all the love that we have here on YouTube, right? You already know what it is. We're building communities here, right? Where this is a part of the process, right? So as far as that piece, right? I'm gonna leave it there. But yeah, I think what I mean. It was a dope interaction in that sense, right? With those characteristics, we got to be mindful to the intent, and we're gonna talk about the intent piece of it, right? But yeah, when it comes to those characteristics, we got to be really mindful, right? You got to say to yourself, right? how are you re-engaging with the perception of how that might be perceived in terms of now as you're looking at your life, right, on a time scale, right? Literally, I tell people, look back to last week, and you got to be able to understand what kind of a person you were last week, as far as how it correlates to the person that you are in this week, right? In that sense. But if you're doing it daily, it makes sense, so you can see it. But you guys get what I'm trying to say. But yeah, great, interaction in that regards. And we'll love to hear your thoughts. Again, it's going to be posted either up, left, right, down, right? So go ahead, leave something in the comments, right? We'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I know. Now that you said what you said, I was listening to you, brother, and a couple of thoughts came to me, right? So first of all, let's go back to the picture itself, right? So as I look at the picture, I'm saying, okay, my personal opinion here, I feel like we all start at number 3.
Okay.
We all start at number 3, right? And as our consciousness become more aware of itself, per se, we start to progress, right? And then ultimately we get to, the point where we start waking up to what's going on around us. And as you wake up, you see that, hey, wait, people are living a certain way. And it's like, yo, this don't make no sense. Why are you living the way you're living, Like, you just going through existence. You're just going through your day. You do this, you do that, and it's on a loop. This is literally on a loop. You don't even realize that. So you're like, oh, let me try to hit that person where it's like to wake them up. And if we all seen the Matrix, some people are not ready to be unplugged, right? There's some people that are not ready to be unplugged, and they are people that became that, they got unplugged and they're like, damn, I wish I was naive and I didn't know any of this stuff. You know what I mean? So as you go through this experience, your consciousness goes to a higher level. I feel like you get to a split. You get to a split. So now the split is, do you become number 2 or do you become number 1? That's a split. And then also within that split, there's also number 4, because as you may notice, there's a lot of 3s. There's a lot of 3s out there right now. A lot of 3s. And I feel like we need more 1s. We do. We need more 1s. And for there to be more 1s, people got to be open-minded. But the conditioning keeps you closed-minded. So, and I feel like we're combating against number 2. So, I just had to go back in there after I heard what you said and literally see the direction that we're headed in terms of what's going on right now. And the more 1s that we have, chosen 1s, which is very relevant to it being number 1, it's very interesting. So, with the picture, it's gonna make so much more sense, man.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Nice.
So, this just a quick breakdown of the 4 types of people that you will encounter through your experience.
You have to see it for yourself. This is your last chance. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed, take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.